If that's true, then how come it's always the Democrats who wake up to find Wall Street money on their nightstand? Can't figure it out. John McCAIN, thank you for being with us again today.
Yeah, then candidate Obama nearly $1 billion from, guess who? Goldman Sachs.
Goldman
surprise,
Sachs.
Surprise.
Not to mention BP. Did you see that one?
Oh, yeah. Listen, it's
BP. It goes on and on and on.
It really is incredible, and yet, you know, what was it that Bob Dole used to say when he was running against President Clinton? What did he say? Well, where's the outrage?
Boy, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Well, you know, I got to say this going in. You know, you deserve all the credit in the world for what you have been doing for years with regard to a lot of these issues, and especially the pork barreling. I remember when even among Republicans it wasn't that cool. And you were standing up there oftentimes by yourself, and I was hiding under the desk somewhere some of the time.
No, you were not. No, you were not.
By yourself,
you were
fighting.
Right beside me. You
were fighting this battle. You've been fighting this battle for years, before it was cool, my friend.
And then the corruption came, and members of Congress go to federal prison, and spending gets completely out of control. And you and I deeply regret it that the Bush administration, we lost an opportunity by not getting spending under control, but this administration makes the Bush administration look like a bunch of misers.
Well, you got that right. And I want to talk to you, too, about this financial reform bill, so-called, that's before the Senate now. The Democrats were crowing about, you know, getting it to the floor and all that, but now it looks like they're going to be facing some amendments that maybe they won't be too happy about. And you and Shelby and Greg, I guess, and some others have got a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac amendment, don't you?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of Americans don't know who Fannie and Freddie are. They've got weird names, but they're basically they're government-sponsored entities. In other words, they're guaranteed by the federal government, and for about the last 20 years, they've gone nuts. They have given mortgages to people that can't afford to pay them back, and now, according to the Wall Street Journal today, Fannie and Freddie owned or guaranteed $5 trillion in mortgages and mortgage-backed securities when they collapsed. And guess what happened yesterday? They said they lost $8 billion in the first quarter, requested another $10.6 billion, and warned that it would be more. Comes on top of the $126.9 billion that Fannie and Freddie have already lost. And guess what, Fred? All of that is off budget. You will not find that in our deficit. Isn't that crazy?
As their fair-haired boys who headed up Fannie and Freddie walked off with, my calculations, about $18 million a year in compensation.
Yeah, the people who were running it were milking it like, I mean, it's so scandalous. But what adds on to the scandal is that now the sponsors of the legislation say that it's so hard, Fannie and Freddie, in this problem of these hundreds of billions of dollars of unfunded toxic assets they got out there, that they don't want to address Fannie and Freddie in financial regulatory reform. Two of the institutions that were major factors in triggering the housing crisis, which led, of course, to the greatest recession we've had since the Great Depression.
They don't want to address it, period, forever, because the same people pushing this finance reform legislation in the House and the Senate are the same people who've been protecting Fannie and Freddie all these years. We all know that.
And Fannie and Freddie had not been paying state and local taxes. Fannie and Freddie were also exempt from SEC regulations. They had, I mean,
well, they had to save their. They were paying plenty to in campaign contributions, though.
They were very generous.
What are y'all trying to do with this amendment?
Basically put them into conservatorship or end them as any kind of government involvement with them. Let them compete with everybody else. Become a regular. If they want to guarantee mortgages for people, they want to guarantee them, fine. But don't use the federal government guarantee in order to do it. Let them act like any other private organizations that says, hey, we'll buy your mortgage, we'll fund your mortgage for you, and we'll hold it for you, and then you make the payments. But where the risk involved will not be assumed by the federal government, which is the case today.
And they would have to begin to reduce their portfolio.
Yeah, over a 3-year period, the end of conservatorship, to operate under new restrictions until their government charter expired. When their government expires, then it provides for a 10-year period, which they can create a separate company and dissolve any remaining mortgages or debt obligations that's held by the government.
We got a minute left. Is there an issue about whether or not Harry Reid's even going to give you a vote on this amendment?
They're stalling around, my friend. We're going into the weekend here sometime later today. We'll see. But as you know, I know the parliamentary tactics and strategy and rules as well as anybody. So it won't be without a fight.
Well, I'm looking forward to that fight if it comes down to it. Because you got the American people on your side.
Could I mention one thing very quickly in addition to you? The the Arizona immigration law calls for reasonable reason there has to be a reason for someone to be stopped, okay? That is in their law. There has to be reasonable suspicion before anyone is stopped or detained.
John,
and anyone who says that otherwise is not telling the truth.
That includes the President of the United States. He is up there. He has to be deliberately misrepresenting what's in this legislation.
And our borders are not secure in Arizona, and it's a federal responsibility, and the governor and legislature acted out of frustration. If we had secured our borders, we would not be grappling with this issue. But to say that arrests can be made without sufficient reason for doing so is an out-and-out untruth, and they should stop saying it.
Total misrepresentation about what this law does, which is a reasonable response to a terrible problem. John McCain, thank you once again.
Thank you, old friend.
Thank you
Great
for being
to be
with
with
us.
you,
Appreciate what you're doing.
Okay, pal. See you. Bye.